Okay. Just adjusting my screen here, but it won't adjust. So welcome everybody. As you're all logging in as usual, we're just giving it a minute or two for everybody to get in the room before we start the webinar. We'd like to give everybody a chance to, get in here and so forth, so they don't miss any good stuff. Let's see, the numbers growing quite fast. Love that. You guys have been awesome, by the way. We're really enjoying doing these webinars because you guys are just so awesome. We're getting great comments, great feedback. You guys are really enjoying it. It makes us want to do more of these. And we're contemplating, this is probably going to literally change the way, in a lot of ways, we do business moving forward, even after the coronavirus, because we're just seeing such an awesome response from you guys, and that makes it super enjoyable. So I want to thank all of you for that. You make me, like I said, you want to make me want to do more of this. Now, with that said, I'm trying to fix something on my screen while I talk to you, and it doesn't want, there we go, it finally fixed. Okay. Okay, let me make the screen bigger here. Okay, let's see, we've got about 72 of you in the room right now. That's normal. Probably within 10, 15 minutes, we'll have over 100. People just keep coming in typically long after we start these podcasts or these webinars. But for those that want to get here and catch everything right at the beginning, I just wait a few minutes. Now, with that said, we've got Anna Maria, the beautiful Anna Maria. You can see her there on the screen.
Hi.
She's calling in from Bucharest, Romania, one of our favorite places in the world. I don't know if she feels the same, but she likes California.
Usually it is.
And it's freezing cold and late at night there, right?
Yeah, it's really cold. It's snowing some nights, and some nights it just goes below freezing point. And but during the day we get a decent amount of sun.
And what time is it there right now?
It's 9:06 p.m.
9:06 p.m. So she's calling in at her nighttime to give you this talk, and she's going to talk about what it's like dating Eastern European women and versus American women. Neither are bad, neither right or wrong. It's just different. And some guys really want to have an awesome connection with an Eastern European woman. I really enjoyed the Eastern European women that I've dated. And she's got a certain perspective on it. She's got a very open, realistic mind, and she's going to tell you the truth from her perspective. And having been a coach, because she is now coaching for Fearless, she's going to be doing a lot with the women's programs. If any of you do a live program, you'll see her in the live programs going around, and she's been just devouring the information, taking it in, working hard to bring you the best value possible. And we love the contrast of a male and female coach, especially a female coach that can step back and get good at seeing what men see from the male perspective versus just the female perspective. You got to see, to be able to teach well, you got to be able to see from both perspectives and switch back and forth. And she's doing a great job of that. She's a very successful woman in her own right. I'll let her describe any success she wants to talk about, but she's had a very, very successful career. She's very driven, but she's also very feminine and loves being the feminine with a man at the same time. Perfect balance of both, in my opinion. So I'm going to let her take it over. I'll probably jump in here and there to ask for clarification on things or to go a little, if there's something I'm curious about, but for the most part, I'm going to let her run with this right now, and hop on in, Anna Maria. Great having you.
Thank you so much for having me and for the great introduction. Hi, everyone again. I am a former worker in the parliament. I've been there of my own country. I've been there for a year, and then I switched to working for my government, where I've been working for the past 5 years, when I decided it's time to switch to a place that would help me help people better than my previous jobs did. So I've been in touch with Fearless for the past 2 years, and my journey with them became greater and greater every day, and every time we met and I was around. So here I am now, as Brian said, working on programs, working on books, trying my best to become a coach, and we'll see where this continues. So yes.
You are actually a perfect example. There's a chapter, I talked about it yesterday. There's a chapter in the book, and all the coaches are, of in that book, How to Raise Your Own Salary by Napoleon Hill. It's an interview of Andrew Carnegie, and he wrote a chapter, and it's an amazing chapter. I think it's called Going the Extra Mile or something like that. It's like chapter 5. You're a perfect example of that chapter. You're out there creating so much value. We can't not have you on these webinars now. We can't not, because you just keep showing up with more value. So at a certain point, we have to fit you in somewhere. So just wanted to
Thank
say
you.
that. So their homework from yesterday's call was to read that chapter. So I just wanted them to see that.
So yeah, I mean, all you do is just have to figure out what your passion is, what your true aim is in life, and just go after it. And I can promise you that only great things will follow to that. Thank you again, Brian. So moving forward, let's see why men prefer to date Eastern European women. I've been talking to a lot of men from Western Europe, from the US. I've been in touch with them for longer periods of time, and also with fearless clients. And the ones that got in touch with women from this area of the world, noticing them that they are very straightforward. That's a quality I would say that all of us have, in a sense there, where we would say what we like, what we don't like, and we would just, maybe we would sweeten it a little bit, but we'll always say what's on our mind. So you can count on us for being very honest and very straightforward. Then another thing about us is that our maintenance, meaning keeping us happy, is very easy because we are joyful and full of life, and it's something that we like to grow in our life experience and to expand also in the people around us. So you'll definitely have a very cheerful woman around you if you date or meet an East European woman. Also, we are very adventurous. We like diversity. We like to follow new trends, to see what's the new thing, to discover new things, to get involved in different activities. So if you're the adventure kind of guy, you got us. We definitely love to explore that side of life. And we also, and I think this is very important for men, we like to have our alone time as well. So everybody gets their alone time. Everybody gets to have the so needed me time. So with an Eastern European woman, you'll definitely get that because we value it for ourselves as well. Another thing that I've noticed in a lot of Eastern European women, and I'm not talking about Romania, I'm talking also about Republic of Moldova, about Ukraine, about Russia. I've met women from these areas too, as well as Bulgaria, for example. And I can assure you that all of them have a very complex and very impressive personality. We have we would say it's a very colorful personality, in a sense where we are very expressive, we are very curious, we are very warm as women. So you'll get a lot of diversity when hanging out with us. So I think that's very important. We don't like plain things, so you won't get bored with an Eastern European woman. Now, something that I didn't mention at the beginning, but I think it's important still to bring up, is that all I'm saying is can vary, and it's particular from a woman to another, depending on her education, her background. But overall, I'm talking about like a majority of women. So just take everything with a dose of reserve, and be curious about your potential Eastern European woman that you're going to meet or that you just met. And don't take everything I'm saying ad literam, which means it's from Latin and it means word by word, but just have it in your mind and make sure you don't put labels, because that's something that we don't do here at Fearless. We don't put labels. So moving forward, we have a very feminine energy. We are very feminine women. So therefore, you will get a very strong polarity between the masculine and the feminine. We will definitely challenge you on some aspects. We will see if you really want to conquer us, and we will find very creative ways to make sure that's happening. And we are also, in our femininity, it goes also with getting dressed very nicely. So very rarely you see us in yoga pants, in sports clothes. We like to wear dresses and skirts and put on some makeup. But we'll get into that a little bit later, because there are also a lot of, let's say, myths around Eastern European women, and we'll definitely dive into that in a little bit. Eastern European women are also very goal-oriented and highly committed. This comes from our history and our past and our ancestors, which was transferred to us through our grandparents and our parents. And I will dive a little bit into the historical aspect of this region of the world, as the Russian Empire expanded, being very patriarchal. We faced a lot of violence, like physical violence, and it was very common in my grandparents and even before that generation for women to be beaten or yelled at, or so basically women were very mistreated. Therefore, we were taught by our grandmothers and grandfathers and our parents to become independent. And when we're looking to a man, we're looking to a man to build something with, and not receive an empire from, because we need to have that security, that reassurance that we do not depend on someone, and we're there just for the reasons of sharing the beauty of life together. Again, take all the advice I'm sharing with a dose of reserve. There are also particularities, and there are some differences between one country to another, which we'll discuss in just a little bit. Also, I would say that due to our historical past, our tolerance level is very high. And that means that we will, before taking a decision, if we get upset, we will question if all the information that we have is complete, and if we have the good reason to take a decision before changing something. So that makes us being perceived as having a high tolerance level to some degree, depending again on the woman, on her background and education. And speaking of education, we value a lot family all over the Eastern Europe. It's not about just Romania or just Ukraine or Republic of Moldova. We love our family, and we put it first before anything else. And we also, I mean, not me specifically, but most Eastern European women look into creating their own family, may it be just with a partner or a partner with kids. This varies again from a woman to another. And this will excite you guys a lot. We take pride in making our partner happy. We just love to see him smiling and happy, and just offering him reasons to smile. If we see our partner is upset, we go and check up with him, like, well, what's going on, what's wrong? Not necessarily because we think we did something wrong, but because it's important for us to see our men being happy and content and smiling. So I would say that that's a really big plus for women in this region of the world. As I was saying earlier, Eastern European women are very emotional. Somebody described us as being Latinas with a Slavic heart. So that means you'll get a little bit of the drama, but also some of the containment from the Slavic regions. So we are a very interesting mix of the two. And being emotional translates into us being sensitive to some situations. I would not say that we are overly dramatic, but I would definitely say that we may cry easier. We may you may see our emotions easier than you do with people from like Northern Europe or also the middle of the Europe. They tend to kind of keep them for themselves. Not that I'm judging anyone, but this is how we are different. And excuse me, we are very convinced that we can mix a professional life maybe owning a business or having a very good paid job, with having a private life that's very colorful, very cheerful, and very complex and rich. And we don't take like half measures in any of this. So we definitely look into reconciling these two aspects of life, because we may feel that it's failure, a personal failure, if we don't. So we will do all that we can to achieve these two aspects at their maximum possible. Moving forward, is everyone curious about some myths and destroying some myths around Eastern European women? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Yes?
one of the questions that was in here, it didn't pop up in the Q&A, but I caught it. It's Andrew Gray. He was
Yes.
saying, what are some of the negatives about Eastern European women? You know, because you make, right now you're making them sound so perfect and beautiful and amazing. And one of the things I've noticed with Eastern European women personally, and you could maybe talk about this and then talk about whatever else you think is powerful to talk about, is sometimes they can be a little gruff when you first meet them, but then they drop that and tend to become super sweet. That's one. Another one is a lot of them tend to smoke, very common in Eastern Europe. That's two that come to mind off the top of my head. So do you want to comment?
Okay, so yeah, sure. Yeah, we may look as being icy cold when you first meet us. So we will look as being very inapproachable, very precious, like you can come even close to us. But that's some sort of self-defense mechanism, I would say. And it comes also from the past of our country, from the history of our country, and it's our way to kind of filter people that are worth being around us or not, or people that can hurt us or not. So therefore, we put this cover, not because we want to push people away, but we want to see who's really interested and why they are interested in us. And then, as you said, Brian, once we drop that, we are the sweetest and warmest and kindest and nicest person. But guys, pay attention. You'll see Eastern European women smiling to you a lot. That doesn't mean, and again, that doesn't mean that they are into you. We are just taught to be nice. We were raised, most of us, with a way of conduct, with a code of manners, and that is be kind and be nice and be welcoming kind of to anyone, in a sense that where you would smile and be kind and try to be of service. Like if you meet a foreigner in Bucharest, I personally, if I see him kind of, or her, or the couple being a little bit disoriented, I would go and ask, hey, do you need help? It's not because I have an interest, but because I want to be of help. It's our way of being. So don't confuse our smiles for flirt, or again, it may mean flirt, but overall you see a lot of smiles around, and that's because we are very nice people and very warm people. And
can I ask you a question about that? That's a really interesting point, because can you go a little deeper on the idea? Like, I'll see Eastern guys get confused by Eastern European women. On one hand, I see them as initially cold until you get them to open up and they start investing in you. And guys mistake, what I see a lot of is they'll be, to me, I'm like, no, she's not opening up to you. And guys who don't have experience will be like, but she's being nice to me. There's a difference between her being cold and being polite. And
yes.
Can you describe the difference between a woman that is maybe an Eastern European woman from your perspective that's actually showing real interest versus just being nice?
Okay, so if, like, let's take the example of seeing somebody that seems lost or needs directions around Bucharest, right? So I would go to that person and it will stop with the advice. So I'll give the advice or the help that's needed, but then I will stop and continue on with my journey. A woman that's interested may stick around a little bit more, may try to maybe ask supplementary questions, but you also feel it in her energy. A woman that's mostly interested in just helping you, she will just be a little bit pulled back, not completely, but like kind of centered, kind of staying in the middle of herself. Where a woman that is super interested in you, she will like push away all her energy to you and you will feel it. I mean, I don't think it's hard for a man that's not Romanian, and we'll get into that as well, to differentiate between a Romanian woman that's interested or not. And why I'm saying that it's difficult for Romanian guys to differentiate between interested Romanian women or not. This comes from the fact that the emotional awareness of Romanian guys and in general of Eastern European guys is very low. They do not believe in this aspect of life. They treat it as a joke. So this is a reason why we tend to date outside of our countries or outside of this half of the continent, because we are getting a little bit tired of men that are not emotionally developed and emotionally available to us.
This is a very interesting point. I just want to say Mark Edward Davis loves to talk about how he's got like 200 or 300 marriages and maybe 2 divorces, and he arranges marriages with Eastern European women with American men. And he said, if you look at the statistics, Eastern European women married to American men, the success rate is it's the highest. It's through the roof for some reason. And he says that it has something specifically to do with American men with either Eastern European or Latin women from another country. Go ahead, because I know you're in a relationship with an American man. So
yes, I am very happily in this relationship
right now.
So what happened, I think that if you look at our society and Eastern European societies overall, you'll see women more interested than men in growing from a personal perspective. So we develop a lot more than they do, and they show interest in developing emotionally and developing our knowledge overall, and we want to expand more than they want. So their container, I assume everyone is familiar with the notion of container, is not big enough for us, is not solid enough for us, because we need someone that's manly enough, and also that can receive our feminine energy and let us expand and as Mark Davis said, bloom in front of our men, which most Eastern European men won't allow us to, because they think it's shameful to display emotions in public, and they think it's shameful to kiss your girlfriend or hold her hand in public, and so on and so forth. And but going back to the differences between our willing to grow and not and theirs not to grow or stay where they are because they are so self-sufficient. This may make us leave our men kind of aside and look for men that are willing to grow, men that are emotionally available, men that are willing to receive who we are without judging us. So that's why I think our part of society, the feminine society of Eastern Europe, goes well with your masculine society in US, because we kind of meet each other's needs in a sense where, and I do not, if there's any US lady in the call, please don't take it personally.
It probably is. But we're getting more and more female viewers. So thank you, lady.
I noticed that women in the US are not very open, both emotionally and overall. I feel they're very glacial. So they would be into, hey, what's up? How's it going? But it kind of stops there. They don't open as much as we would do. And I feel that we are more willing to be vulnerable in front of a man, where women in Western Europe and US are less willing to be vulnerable, which I think kind of denies a man his masculinity and makes him...
Well, you just nailed it. I mean, that's what I've been saying for a while, is American women are amazing when they get it, but a lot of them are trying to be the man and then date the man, competing with the man to be the best man. Where Eastern European women want to be the woman. They still want a career. They still want to take off, especially the Romanians. I see it in the Romanians all, they don't even mind buying you a drink, but they don't want to compete with your masculine. They want to be the feminine while you be the masculine. And then what I see is the male becomes really excited to support her in success, and she becomes really excited to support him. Mm-hmm. And this beautiful, like the picture in the picture frame. And it's just a subtle difference, but it makes such a difference in communication and receptivity with each other. And polarization. You need that polarization for sexual attraction. And I think sexual attraction dies so much. And the other one is a lot of times in Western society, this might even be more accurate. You can tell me what you think. A lot of American men and women are trying to be half masculine, half feminine, and then be a complement to each other from that perspective. And go for it.
Yeah, it would work, but it's I really think that if one exercises it enough, he or she can be half-half. But I would say that the roles that are, I mean, I would say that they're very successful couples with a very masculine woman and a very feminine man, and vice versa, very feminine woman and very masculine man. But having perfect halves in every partner, I'm not sure there's enough polarization in that kind of couple
No,
where everyone can be anything and they don't kind of grow the side that belongs to them mostly.
you've got a good developed masculine, even though you're very feminine. You present yourself like you're right-handed or left-handed. You present yourself with the feminine hand, but you have the other hand and you know how to use it. And I've seen that in you very well, and that's part of what makes you attractive. But then you don't try to go be the masculine hand and take the masculine away from your partner and vice versa. And I think that's really healthy, and I think it's healthy in men too. And the man shouldn't go try to compete with your feminine, even though he maybe could do it. Maybe he's Brad Pitt and he's beautiful to the world, but he shouldn't go out and try to out pretty you, out not pretty is the wrong word, but out inspire you. Like the feminine is so inspiring and so nurturing and so healing. And unless you're down, maybe you're sick and he needs to be that person for a few days with the children. Maybe he goes to work and needs to be that person, or vice versa. So
I think the most important is communication in a couple, if we're stepping a little bit into this side of things. But I think men started to miss feminine women, and we still have that in Eastern Europe. And I think that's why we are more attractive than other cultures and other areas of the globe, because we still we have the modern part where we look into growing from a business perspective, and we want to have a career and we want to succeed and be independent, but we also know how to step back in our feminine when it comes to being with our partner, being home. And I'm not saying that we switch from business mind to housewife mind. What I'm saying is that we know how to not commend our men, how to not try to overstep on him, like be better than him in a masculine sense. So yeah, and I would add again that it's linked kind of to our happiness and our men's happiness, for which we take so much pride, that we like to build with our partner. We like to, and for me personally, very specifically for me, I feel it's more exciting to have a man to build with than having a man that has it all and I'm just another addition to all that he has. So, and I've seen this mentality in a lot of women from this region, where they like to feel that they contributed to the well-being and just growth of the couple. We like to grow together. So that's,
I think that's also super true. When you think about super successful couples, you really see that, like Esther and Jerry Hicks, like they were a really great couple. You could see it. And he was the masculine to her feminine, and she was the stage speaker. She got on stage and wowed the world. And he grounded and built that whole business around her. And you look at like Zig Ziglar and what he calls the redhead. He said, I wouldn't be anywhere where I'm at without her, because she inspired me every day and was backing me every day. Or you look at Bob Proctor and his marriage, or you look at The Rock and the way he talks about his wife, or the people that really, they look at their partners as this, just like it sounds bad. I don't want people to take this wrong, but it's like their business. Somebody puts all this energy and appreciating and building a beautiful business service. Why do they have to do that with their partner in a relationship? And a lot of times we just take relationships for granted. And I really see that polarity with really good couples like you just talked about.
Yeah, and that goes, what you just said, guys and girls, don't take anything for granted. And I think what we're going through right now, I mean, I'm kind of derailing a little bit from the subject, but I think it's very important to not take anything in your life for granted. Your health, your ability to move around, your partner, your family, it is all here now, and it can all be gone in a second. So cherish it. So, because I don't want you to think that we are all unitary in Eastern Europe, and because, I mean, even though we are all in the same Soviet bloc and we all had kind of the same history throughout the communism, which was here for an extended period of time, as societies and as women, because this is what we're talking about, we are different. Not completely, but there are like differences that may help you in a sense where you may wonder, so if I'm interested in your Eastern European women, where should I look at? So I would say that the first major and most important difference is that Romania is the country where most women and most people here speak English, whereas in Republic of Moldova, Ukraine, Georgia, Georgia is a little bit of an exception, but Russia also, they may not speak English. It's not very common there. And I would say that in Republic of Moldova, it's more common to speak French than English. So, and of course, Russian. So this may help you already rule out some options. I'm not saying that there are not English speakers in Ukraine or Russia, but it's harder to get to them.
They're also hard to talk to sometimes. But if you can learn a few Russian words to flirt and just kind of flirt and say them over and over and have really good expressions, that's the best bet when you don't know language. And then get a good Google Translate.
Yeah, if you really like somebody that doesn't speak English and you're willing to make an effort, do it. If you feel it's worth it.
Well, Romanian are the best so far. Are the best for the West and the East. They got a great combination of Western and Eastern values that really work. So you're welcome.
So yeah, and then when it comes to the family and business aspect, there's also a very important difference between Romanian women and Russian and Ukrainian women. I would just put Russian and Ukrainian together. So if in Romania you'll have women that tend mostly to be business oriented or own a job or business or have a very, very good job, so good salary or whatever is considered here a good salary. And only a few, like a small majority, will still be kind of oriented to having a child. In Ukraine and Russia is the other way around, where they would first prioritize having children, being married, having children, and then maybe having a job and working. I'm not saying that they don't work, but for them it's very important to create a new family. So again, depending on what your interest is, you may look at one country or another. I'm not saying, again, that our society in Romania is completely on business and there are no women interested in marriage and having children. But what I'm saying is that it's more common in Ukraine and Russia.
I've had the experience in Ukraine many times where I'll be at a party and a girl will walk up to me and say, "Call me an Uber," and I'm like, "I'm not even dating you." And I'm like, "But you're the man. You're organizing this party. They expect you to kind of pay for every little thing." And I've had the opposite experience in Romania. In Romania, I've had women walk up to me, say, "I'm going to buy you a drink," and I'm like, "No, it's okay. I'll buy you one." And they're like, "No," and they're like, "No, I want to buy you a drink." And and then they'll say, and one girl said to me, "Oh, I don't believe in feminism. I don't want to take control. I just want to buy you a drink." And I was like, "Okay." It's very different in that sense.
I would say this comes from our willing to prove that we're independent, that we can also contribute. You will meet a lot of Romanian women that will be like, okay, let's split a bill, or let me pay my part. And specifically in my family, the way me and my sister, because I have a little sister, we were educated by my mother and my father, is that you should always, when you go out, at least in the first dates with a man, you always drink or eat what you can pay with what you have on you, and never go over that, because it's important for you to be independent and being able to cover your part, and just contribute to the nice flow of the potential relationship. So yeah, that's common here. I mean, we do appreciate it when a man wants to kind of offer a dinner or a drink, but we are also willing to contribute. It makes us feel empowered, independent, and feel good about ourselves.
And I love that about the Romanian women. It's one of the things I like the best. And they're still very sexy, sexual beings. They're not. I find that they're very comfortable with their sexuality too, which is very interesting to me. In Eastern Europe as a whole, but I really like the independence of the comfort with sexuality and the feminism of Romanian women. So I'm just gonna let that go. Let's let that sit for what it is.
Yeah, I would say that we are less traditional in Romania, and less. I would say that the power of the church is more prominent in from Republic of Moldova towards Russia. So Republic of Moldova, Ukraine, Georgia, and all the countries around, Russia included. Not that they are not sexual, that they are not showing it or exploring it with a man, but they may preserve a part of it for when you're in a more private environment, whereas I think Romanian women kind of stepped a little bit outside of the church influence, and we are a little bit more free and more able to express what we want, what we like, what we don't like, and what we'd like to experience. And yeah. I think that's very healthy.
I'd run into it a lot in Ukraine, because I spent that period of time in Ukraine a lot of time, and I'd run into two types of women. Either girls that were party girls, want to go out, party all night, do drugs, and they just wanted to drink and have fun, and they were super sexual, right? Or I'd run into women that were super, super conservative. I want to date you. I want to be courted. I want you to pay for everything. I want to be considered for marriage material. And if that works out, we'll continue to move forward. And for me, there's a lot in between. There was a lot of in between where women were, let's date and see how, they weren't necessarily on either extreme. They were more balanced in that area.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree on that. I would say that, so with in general, with a Romanian woman, you can go out and have fun in a club, and then have a nice, museum visit, and then have a super intelligent talk with, and then go and have fun somewhere, and then you can go from like very serious discussions to very light discussions. So we have this wide range of variation we can explore, and you can explore with us, but you just need to show openness to it and availability to explore it, because we're not going to give it all for free. We want to see what you like, what you dislike, and then kind of build from it. So I would say it's also very common that you may see the side of us that you're requesting kind of from the way you're being. So depending on how you approach us, depending on how you're conducting the relationship potentially or the dates, you may see either the very serious side of us or the very fun side of us. It depends on how you're kind of conducting the connection.
I've seen that too. I think that's true with most women around the world. Guys that present themselves as conservative, if a girl really likes you, she's going to suddenly become super conservative. Mm-hmm. So that she doesn't violate your beliefs and make you run away from her. And guys who are more open and accepting of her sexual nature and non-judgmental, the quicker she gets on that, the more she relaxes with them and starts to become more open in that area. Because women do get judged so much, all around the world, to be honest. They get judged so much for being sexual, and a guy that doesn't judge them and makes them sets them free is so powerful. Awesome.
Yeah, and ultimately, sorry.
No, I was just saying, continue on. I'm loving it. Keep going.
I would say that ultimately what we all want, going to the very core of what we want, is to be accepted. Because I think that's the key for a successful relationship. Not be tolerated, but being accepted for who you are and what you are. And that's where greatness shows up and grows.
It does. It does. The more, and that's what I think what makes a good couple work. And this is why really good feminine and masculine accepts and complements and validates each other so well, because ultimately in a relationship, you both need to be, in a weird sort of way, appreciating each other for the qualities you love to express. As a feminine being, the more the man witnesses and loves that feminine, the more the feminine wants to be giving to the man, and vice versa. The more the feminine appreciates the masculine, the more the masculine wants to take care of the feminine, and you get this nice cycle. It's really beautiful.
Yeah. Let's see what the guys and girls want. What would you like to follow next? The myths around Eastern European women or dating aspects within Eastern European women? I'm really curious.
So write in the comments, guys. In the Zoom webinar comments, right? Which one of those two you'd rather hear more about? The date, say it again. Dating.
Dating. Okay, we have one dating.
Or and the two,
okay.
What, dating or myths? Dating or myths?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
nice.
Dating it is, guys. Dating or myths? I see Sean asking.
Everybody wants dating.
Oh, all right. So let's explore dating with an Eastern European women. And then if time allows us, we'll go through the myths as well. All right. So first thing that you need to remember, and it's super simple, super easy to remember, is be on time. It's crucial to be on time when you're meeting an Eastern European woman. It shows you're respecting her. It shows you respect yourself as well, because if you're treating your time very loose, then what does that say about you, right? So be on time. If you set a date, time, just make sure you're there either at sharp of the hour you mentioned or 5 minutes earlier, because it will be greatly appreciated. And since I've seen somebody tell me how to ask her out, this was the following, I mean, it's not how to, but actually how to set a date with a woman, because I've seen Western men, maybe US or maybe Western Europe, making the following mistake, which is, hey, would you like to go out? And she says yes, and then he said, okay, we'll talk. And from this, what we get is that you're treating the potential date as being, optional, not very interesting. You're treating it kind of loose. You don't really care. You're just maybe willing to throw it in your calendar, but not really, really wanting to date us. So the way to really express that you want to date an Eastern European woman is to be decisive, be the man, as in suggest a clear place and a clear hour. And then ask her if it fits her schedule and if it fits her area, because setting the place and the hour shows that you're really decided, that you really want it, and it's kind of validating also for us that you are really interested in meeting us and sharing some time together. So make sure again that you're on time and you are decisive in setting your place and your hour. And you don't have any excuse if you don't know the city. So let's say that you guys come to Romania, to Bucharest. There's Google. So you find there all sorts of suggestions. We have a various range and wide range of places you can choose from. And if you've had some chats with her, you should know already if she likes to go out to eat sushi or she likes to have coffee, and then look for places that will meet some of her ideal dates or something that she enjoys doing. So pay attention to your chats prior to setting the date, and be decisive when you're setting it. Next, and also very important, and it's related to the first item that I stated, is be a gentleman. We it's so important for us to have a gentleman next to us, to have a man that has great manners, that knows how to eat properly, that can open a car door for us, and that knows that he's the one to talk to the waiter. It's not that we cannot live without it. It's not that we can't manage without it. It's that it shows that you care, you're interested, and you're being a man. You're holding a container of safety around us. Not that something bad would happen, but it just, like, to our subconscious mind, it sends a message that, hey, I'm taking care of you. So be a gentleman. And speaking of manners, throughout my professional life and throughout my dating life as well, I've seen so many, referring to the first one, business deals falling off the table because of really horrible manner tables, just absolutely outrageous. So pay attention to your manners, and if you guys don't know them, we have a program at Fearless. It's called the Bad Boys and the Gentlemen, and feel free to join. It's been thought by me and my amazing partner, David Stoltz, who's here with us. And we are sharing there with you what it is to be a gentleman, what it is to be a bad boy, and how can you help in a healthy way mix both of them to be a great person for yourself, but also for people around you. And why not to conquer Eastern European woman? And basically, I think any woman, because I don't think that women in the US or Western Europe do not appreciate manners. So have that in mind. And if you're interested, talk to your coach, or just get on the website, thefearlessman.com, and get in touch with the team to get extra details.
Now, can we talk about this a little deeper, because there's a difference between Eastern, Western women and this manners thing, and also how masculine or how nice guy you do it from. Like, I see a lot of guys when they're young, like I did when I was young. I would do these try to do these manners, but they wouldn't work. They would get thrown back in my face, or it just. And then now, if I do them now, especially with Eastern European women, but with all women, they work really well. And I think a lot of it has to do with my attitude difference when I do them. And so it's for the guys out there that are kind of nice guys. If you're doing these things she's talking about, like you're being really specific, you're setting a date, you're like, this is the container, I'm going to open the door because you have to, or because you're needy. It's they feel it. Because you're the man, and you're my lady, and I'm putting you in a container, and that's totally different. So.
Yeah, I would say it's the difference comes from your energy, and this is something we will be talking and covering during the workshop. We all sense fake, and we all sense hidden interests, hidden agendas. So these are the situations where it wouldn't work. Because we, as Eastern European women, with all our filters for men and our care for being safe, like making sure that we are keeping ourselves safe, we will smell fakeness from 1,000 miles away. So the difference between a gentleman or a person that can apply manners and it works, and a person that's trying to apply manners and it doesn't work, is that the person that applies them and it's working is living like that. It's a way of being. And this is why we're teaching. We're teaching you a new way of being that's helping you to grow in a very solid man, the third stage man. Should I cover that? Do you think they know what it is, or?
Go ahead and cover it. No, I think that'd be great.
So very briefly, the first stage man would be the nice guy, right? With a very, very small container. The guy that would try to please
first
you.
Stage is the guy who is all masculine, no feminine. He's not a nice guy, but he's also
it's the bad boy.
Feel you very well.
More.
He's more of a bad boy that doesn't give a fuck, or he could be a really good guy who cares, but he's going to care by dominating. Like, this is the house, I'm king of the castle, this is the way it's going to be done, you're my lady. And instead of listening to your needs or being present with you, he's controlling.
Okay, so then the second stage man is the opposite of the first stage man. So it's the guy that's like letting you having it your way, and not because he doesn't care, but because he doesn't know any better, and he's trying to please you a lot. And with a hidden agenda. Whereas the third stage man is a very healthy combination between the bad boy and the nice guy, in a sense where he can contain a woman, he can get what he wants, and combine the two in a very, very healthy way. So you will learn in this workshop how to be the third stage man, a really well-rounded man, a really complete man, and to be able to conquer any woman, not just Eastern European.
Yeah, the third stage man, one of the best ways I put it is he is taking the lead, choosing and taking direction out of choice, not out of fear or want. I'm not trying to get something from him because that's what he does. I'm the man. I take the lead. Whether I have no trouble taking the lead in any room, especially if nobody's going to do it, and I'll show up and make sure everything flows. It's like that hose guy's water, and he loves doing it. And because it's personal, because for him somebody's got to do it. Why not me? And that's really different than a guy that does that out of fear. Like, I got to do it or everything's going to fall apart, or out of wanting because I need to get sex from her. I need to get her to fall in love with me. Mm-hmm. And just the actions are so much more present and so much more powerful. And it causes a different reaction, especially in a feminine woman. And when a guy is really present that way towards a woman, because a lot of these guys are listening to this call and going, well, if I have to do all that, what does she do? Does she just show up and look pretty? And I say that a woman does a lot. And if you start to do that and create that container, it causes a whole reaction in the feminine of a woman. It's so interesting. And I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Which part specifically where
having those... Yeah, when a man shows up in his third stage and he's leading, grounding, containing, like opening the car door because he is a man and because he chooses it, not because he has to or wants to get something from you, because that's what he does. Needs to get something from you, because then what kind of reaction does that cause in a woman when a man is just being truly a man out of loving being a man?
Well, I will speak from my own experience, because I think these are the best things one can share from his own experience. So I am in a relationship with an amazing man who is a third stage man who can say no when there's time to be said no, and I won't take offense for it because I understand that there are limits and I respect them. And he also treats me very nice, and he's the true gentleman. He knows like how to deal with the doors, and this is something very complex that I'm not getting into here, but you can learn all about it in the workshop. He knows overall how to be a gentleman, how to make me feel like a woman by being a gentleman, but also a well-rounded man, very solid, very grounded man. So this makes me feel safe, feel very centered, feel taken care of, but also understand that there are limits. And this makes me respect him even more, because nobody truly respects someone with no boundaries and no limits. So I hope that answered your question.
Well, kind of. So a guy's doing all this stuff, and then you start to respect him and really appreciate him and love him because of it. And then how does that cause you to be in the physical world with him?
More relaxed, more
what's the I guess the better way is what's the feminine role once a woman becomes feminine? What is she doing to contribute value? The guy's contributing value by being this masculine container. What's the feminine doing to contribute value?
Well, the woman is caring, is soothing, is nurturing, is creative, is giving the emotional component to the relationship, and expands in a sense the man's access to his own emotions. So we will be able to be more feminine, which again impersonates all the above: creativity, care, nurturing, which every man, I would say, appreciates.
Yeah, and I see that a lot in Eastern European women. They want to take care of their man when the man is masculine, taking care of them. They want to nurture him. They want to do things for him. They want to be there for him. They want to give back, and it's a really nice circuit that gets created. So. And
we want to share our happiness with him.
Yeah. So that was my only real question. Continue on with that. You have more about the dating?
Oh yes, I have a lot. Depending on how much time we still can.
Well, we've been going an hour. How long do you want to talk for?
I can even go for like another full hour. So just tell me when to stop.
we want to get some Q&A in too. So let's try to go.
All right.
Can we keep it around, another 20 minutes or so, and then start doing?
Sounds good. So next in dating, and this goes for any woman, to be honest, but since we're talking about Eastern European women, I'm going to address it specifically to this category. It's be curious and satisfy her curiosity. We are very curious. We want to know who you are, where you're coming from, how is it there. We have so many questions. And if you don't ask them, and without a good reason, then we'll start questioning who you are, if it's really safe for us to be with you. So satisfy our curiosities. If there are limits, everybody understands them. And if you say like, hey, I can't really talk about it because I'm not comfortable yet, or it's very private or too personal to talk about now, that we'll understand. But just an answer like, no, I won't cover that, or won't reply to that, that's something we're not taking. And also be curious about us. Ask us about, because we love to talk. I mean, any woman loves to talk, but we love to share about our country and about how amazing we think it is, and about our traditions and cultures and our dreams and hopes. So just be curious. It's the shortest way to express it. Just be curious, and you'll have half of our heart if you do that.
I love Eastern European women for that reason, because they love to sit down and have a real connection, create a real bubble, and just get to know who you are. Whether that's over wine, whether it's over tea, whether it turns into more or not. Even a girl you're just becoming friends with will just sit and bubble with you at a cafe, because cafe culture there is so huge. Get a glass of wine and say, who are you? Let's talk. And they get so present for you, put the phone away. I see that a lot, and it's really nice.
Also, it will help a lot, and it will really impress us if you learn a few words in our language. It makes such a big difference. And to be honest, if you like to travel and you're going to different countries, it's always nice, and it shows a lot of respect for that culture. If you learn even just hello in that language, it shows so much care and respect. So learn a few words. It's so easy. It's all over the internet. It's free. So do your best to learn just hello. It's not that hard in any language, to be honest. Except for Georgian, maybe, but
most Georgians speak Russian. So.
Oh, it was that?
Most Georgians speak Russian. So.
Yeah. Going back a little. Привет. Yes. Compliment us, but rather transform your compliments, not for like you're beautiful, because we know we're beautiful, but rather compliment our ideas, or compliment our choice of words, or our choice of clothing maybe, or something else than just the physical appearance. I mean, it's nice if you're not creative at all. Yes, you can compliment her beauty, her natural beauty, that's fine, but go more in depth. Like just to give you an example of kind of a weird compliment that I received, but I really appreciated the originality of the compliment. Somebody told me that I have the whitest white part of the eyes he's ever seen in a person. I was like, okay, that's a different kind of compliment, but thank you. So what does it show? It shows that you are focused on specifics. You're not just throwing away compliments, but you're paying attention to her. And that means a lot to us and to any woman. So pay attention to the color of her eyes, and maybe.
Well, every eye has multiple colors in it. And if you look deep enough, you can really see some eyes that, like, some woman's eyes might have 3 different colors in it. It's like, look at your eyes. They have like 3 different shades. And boom. Yeah. Or look at your style. You have this great sense of style that just flows. I love you. The way you match everything and have it all flow together. Or the way you carry yourself. You have this glide when you walk. It's really relaxing. Something like this really connects with people.
Yeah.
You're seeing something deeper. So I'm just giving some examples guys can play with. I met a girl today because of my way through the crowd, and I walked over and said, "Hi, I had to meet you because I heard your voice from over there and it was so beautiful. I had to meet you." That's it. Boom. That was
very
over 10.
Nice.
That was like 10 years ago.
Very, very nice.
Is everybody frozen or?
I don't know. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Everything's fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Moving forward, we like a man that dresses nicely. And I know that in the US, it's very common for guys to dress in a sporty way or very loose way and wear flip-flops. At least please don't wear flip-flops. If you're dating us, just don't wear flip-flops out. Keep those for the beach or for the spas or whatever. Don't wear flip-flops if we go out, unless we're going to the beach. And just, take a nice shirt or a nice polo shirt or something that will show that you prepared yourself as we did for our date. So and also don't overdo it. Don't go to an extravagant kind of style. We don't like to kind of stand out in a very needy way, like a needy way for attention. So just kind of balance it. If you're not sure, this is another tip that I will share with you is if you're traveling to another country and you'd like to kind of blend in or kind of match the local style, just Google it. How to dress like, or just Romanian men or Ukrainian men, and you'll see some common styles from those countries, and you'll get a kind of a sense as to how they dress there, and maybe borrow some elements or some some parts of it to your style if you're dating a lady from that area. But we do like men that are proper and really well dressed and clean, very important. Now, don't brag about your wealth. It's something that we despise. We think you're trying, then we'll start thinking that you're trying to buy us or something. So don't brag about it. Don't even bring it up. It's because some men do it and they try to show off, and it's literally something that we don't want to hear or deal with. Now this is very different from what you may know, but if you are going with us on more than 2 dates, we assume from that moment that we're dating and that it's exclusively. So if you don't want to date us exclusively, or you don't want to have a relationship with us, just say it from the beginning. It's very important and shows respect for her and for her time and for your time and for both sides' energy, to be honest from the beginning and say like, hey, I'm just casually dating, or I just, I'm checking girls out. Just have that in mind. We will assume with no question asked that we're dating if we have more than 2 dates. So have that in mind if you're going out with an Eastern European woman. And now another thing that if you need, do you want to say something, Brian? Okay. Now
no, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was muted. Yeah, go ahead.
Another thing that we really like is diversity. So don't think that we need to go to a coffee for a date or to go for dinner for a date. Just be creative. Take us out in an adventure park, or take us on a boat ride on the lake, or anything that you may think of. We're willing to, if we haven't done it in the past, we're willing to try it. So unless she says she's scared of heights or water or whatever, just feel free to be creative and bring diversity in. And this also follows up in your future relationship. If you're having such a woman in your life for a longer period of time, make sure you bring in diversity and go on adventures, explore, have different, like, very opposed experiences, go to a museum, go to shooting guns, jump from a plane. I don't know, just bring diversity. We love it, and we love adventure. Go hiking. We love hiking and sport and being active. We go crazy if we keep us in the house, and we're willing to split the expenses. So have that in mind. And as you mentioned earlier about the phone, it is very offensive in Romania overall, but specifically with a woman that you're going on a date with, to check your phone every 5 minutes, be on your phone half of the time. I don't just not being fully present and fully engaged with her. So keep your phone away unless you're expecting some very important phone call or message. Just try to be with her. I mean, since you established that you're going to be with her for an hour or two, that means that you can be away from your phone. You know you have the time for that. So be present. Very important. And an aspect that I think you should know, and this comes from our cultural background, and this is a little bit painful, but I mean, not painful, but kind of sad, but it's a reality, is that women from this side of the world lack trust on themselves. Not, I mean, the level may vary from one woman to another, but to a certain degree, they may have issues with that. So have that in mind and be kind. I think that would be my advice on that. But I think it's very important when you're trying to date somebody from another culture to understand a little bit their background. And so you'll be able to understand why they may be behaving in a specific way, or why they may be reacting in a specific way to something that's very normal for you, very common, very, basic. So know that. And yeah, just show kindness. And if you're going like into a relationship or a dating series with a girl, be romantic, bring gifts, not a lot or not something big, or just and speaking of gifts, it's acceptable in our society to have to start the first date with a flower bouquet. It's a normal thing. I've had my first dates with a big bouquet of roses. It's just normal here. I know it's not very common or not very expected to in the Western side of the world, but here it's something that happens a lot, and it's something that you may want to have in mind. I'm not saying it's mandatory. It doesn't happen on every circumstances on first date, but it's something that is common, and we do appreciate it. And
you just spoke to something that's really important, and I wanted to address it. Is in the U.S. there's a difference between, almost in the U.S. there's a sense like we're going to go out and just kind of casual. We're going to see if we like each other and kind of go from there, and we'll let it move forward gradually. Whereas in Eastern Europe, are you courting me or not? Is there a sense that you're going to take me out and we're going to get to know each other, and so there's still more of these old school dating masculine feminine principles kind of still at play. Polarization, and that's what I think makes Eastern Europe so fun. I find women are like, if they say they're going to be there in Eastern Europe at this time and they can't be, they're going to be calling you, they'll apologize, they'll do a lot of the things, where in like, let's say California, it's more casual. It's like, yeah, approximately this time, maybe we'll hang out. There's a sense, there's these two different energies with the women.
Yeah.
It has to do with the fact that Eastern European women take these rules more seriously and their work more seriously. And I hate to say that to American women, but I do see a strong difference in that, at least when they're first getting to know you. There's one other topic I want to ask you if you can cover at some point, and I'm going to let you continue on. I don't want to talk over you too much. Is what should men? It's not just about what men should do to win these women over, but also what standards should a man be looking for and expecting? What to him is like a red flag? This Eastern Europe, like I should say no. I should set a boundary. Where should he set boundaries? So that the Eastern Europe, because that's really important, I think, with Eastern European women. They love these boundaries because they know they've got a strong man, and the sense that this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for, this is where I'm at. In my opinion, it turns them on more. So
yeah. So first thing first, don't be afraid to say that you just want casual dating, or to share your dating life with her and other women. Some women may say no, and that's fine. But some women will surprise you with a very strong yes and say like, okay, let's continue because I like you and I think we can enrich each other's life in a positive way. So that would be a first thing to have in mind, where you would say no. She may try to convince you. She may try to be like, but I want a relationship. If you're not ready for one, don't say yes just because you think you may have to. say yes only if you want to, and if it's a no, then be open to her, and also take responsibility for what comes with that. She may get upset or angry, and so be ready to deal with some reactions on that side. Another aspect where a man may say no and the woman will appreciate it, or some of them may fight it, is when it comes to his own time. And so if you need your alone time and she's all over you all the time, it makes perfect sense to say, hey, I need my time. I need like a day where I'll be alone, or I need a few hours to go and do my stuff, or I need to go places and be with myself or my friends. I would say that's something that should be respected. And I think women tend to kind of leave aside their interests once they get in a relationship and kind of bend according to a man. But they will respect, if it's a very rounded woman and very stable woman, she will understand your need of alone time, and she will respect it. Another thing, it's not very common in Romania, but it occurs every now and then, and it happens a lot more in Ukraine, and it happens a lot more in Russia, is she may ask you for money. And she may ask you for money, and she will say, oh, it's not for me, it's for my family. Oh, this happened in my family. Oh, can you send me whatever amount of money because I need it, blah, blah, blah. This is perfectly fine to say no. You are not, a financial resource for anyone except for yourself. So that's a perfectly reasonable scenario where you are more than entitled to say no. And that's all that comes to my mind when it comes to setting boundaries.
I think that's important because I've had that happen more with Ukrainian women than I did with Romanian women. They would ask me for money, and I'm just like, no, because I don't know you well. We're not in a relationship. I'm not just going to send you money because you decided, but you don't care about me. We've been on one date.
Yeah, and I see also
that's a red flag for me right there.
Yeah, and I see in the chat that Stig Jensen is confirming what I and you just said. He said he's been dating a Russian girl for a year, and she was asking for gifts and everything. So yeah, it happens, but it doesn't mean that all of them will do it. So again, all that was discussed in this webinar is not 100% valid for available and valid for anyone. You just need to have your filters and sense the person and sense the energy and sense the moment, and then decide and act on that. So take all the components into consideration before jumping into conclusions.
Okay, awesome. We're getting close to it's about 12:16. Do you want to move to questions now, or do you want to continue?
Well, before we move to questions, I just want to let the guys know that and the girls that if they want to know more about what we discussed today, I just finished writing a book. It is called How to Win the Eastern European Woman's Heart. But it's not just that. It's a book about the cultural differences, the myths that we didn't cover. It's about dating. It's about our background, our traditions, our history. So it's a very wide covering book. You will get a link, I assume, from Jonathan or somebody in the team will maybe post a link where you can access the ebook, and you'll receive also 2 bonuses, but I'll let you discover that. And I'm looking very much forward for your feedbacks and for your opinions and questions, and we'll see how I can help you guys with kind of accessing more of our world.
And how about we have everybody, if you got any questions for Anna Maria, how about we have you post some in the Facebook group within the next day or so too, and you can respond to a lot of that too there and answer questions in the Facebook group. Anna Maria or Dave, actually. I think that would be really good. 21 days, the group we created. Are you good with that, Anna Maria?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. So you got Jonathan will send the link out, post questions in the Facebook group. You'll get the extra 2 secret bonuses that are I'm sure are awesome that you don't know about. So get on that stuff right away. And so are you ready for questions now? Is there anything else you feel like you need to cover right now?
Well, they can find as of now anything that I had to cover. They can find it in the book. So it will be a very very enriching and interesting lecture, I hope. I wrote it having in mind other women that I know from this region, my own experience, their experiences, and also contrasting with what I've seen in other cultures and what questions and inquiries I have received throughout the time. So it's a very well thought book. It's been worked a lot by me a lot and the team behind, and we'll hope you'll enjoy it.
There's already a link to the book in the chat, guys. You can see it there. It was posted by Cairo, so go ahead and click on that now and get a copy of it. Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's jump into some of these questions. We got a lot of questions here. Oh, there's 10 open still. Some of them have been answered. I'm putting it out. Okay, I'm going to skip that one from Rudy. Sorry, Rudy. I want to stick to the topic at hand right now. Okay, so we can get to these questions. We'll be having another, getting past fear webinar this Thursday. So that'd be a better place to handle that question right now. Oops, that just moved. Okay. Okay, here in Israel, we have a large group of immigrants from the USSR, and things I've noticed as life led me to date them exclusively is education and culture are very important to them. Bring into high culture, well read, etc., is very important to them. Also, in their men, many of them look for the traditional man, the traditional masculine, an old-fashioned man. I'm not sure about the well-dressed and how it applies to men. On one hand, many Israeli men are dressed in beach pants and flip-flops for the most part, but my Eastern European women friends usually complain about it, and I'm under the impression a man is expected to be well-dressed. I'm not sure if these represent any thoughts. That's from Nimrod.
So, yes, education and culture are super important for us. I was about to cover this in the midst and about Eastern European women. We are very, very highly educated women, especially in Romania, but I wouldn't say that not in the other cultures as well in the region. Our educational system is very demanding, is very it's kind of covering a lot of subjects, and we love smart talks, we love intelligent discussions, we love to explore ideas, we love to debate ideas, not in a sense where to fight over them, but just to find out other opinions and expand our consciousness and our understanding of some subjects that we're interested in. So I would highly recommend, if you don't have a wide general knowledge about stuff, just maybe read the news, so we will show that you are interested in what's going on around the world. It's something that we look into. We watch the news, and not only local news, we look out also in international news, and we want to know what's going on in the world. So if you can cover that with us, that's super important. We love art, we love to go to museums, to opera, to theater. Not all of us. I'm not saying that it's 100% valid, but most of us like it. So yeah, your first point is very much valid. Awesome. And we like a man to share that with.
There you go. Perfect. So next one is from Daniel. Are there any Eastern European women that can be on their own for one day without talking to a man? I've had the feeling that they don't respect my private life. Like they see their man as their possession a bit. They always call you my man. Very intimidating for me, even being Russian. I find you can be together with someone yet respect each other's identity. It's two people who are alone who come together, but not two people merging into a new identity. What do you think?
Well, Daniel, when we say, especially, I mean, I'm just going to talk about myself. And when I say my man, it's not that I own the person or I have a possession on that person. It's my way of expressing that I'm kind of sharing my life experience with somebody. So I'm his, like, for a woman to feel, or a woman in this side of the world to feel that she is a man's woman, it means for her that she's the most important person for him, and it's vice versa. In your case, maybe you were the most important man for her. She was appreciating your presence in her life. And yes, we especially if it was I'm not sure if it was a long-term relation or long distance relationship or close relationship. I don't know what it was, it didn't specify. But if it was a long distance relationship, she may have needed that feeling of connection, and that's why she may have wanted to maybe cover all the time that you had. But you can cover that even in long distance relationship with like specific time call set and having her time allocated. Now if it's a relationship where you two, or the two of you, were together, you can set boundaries too. You say like, hey, we will meet for a few hours, 2-3 hours or whatever a day, and then I need to do my things. And if she doesn't understand, then maybe she wasn't the right woman for you. But it also kind of seems to me like the way you phrased it, that you weren't ready to be in a relationship. Maybe you felt that, to me it seems that all she did was kind of possessing from her side. So I don't know, maybe look at that as well next time you're looking at
I
it.
get the feeling the woman he was dating was Russian and not Romanian. I see that a little bit more with Russian women. I don't know if you feel the same. And also, you got to have, with a strong woman that's going to push in like that, you got to have strong boundaries and rules, like rules about how the relationship's going to flow for you, so that she understands where you're coming from. So bad with that, you might also find that she's going to push harder because you're not setting these boundaries, these times when you really connect and these times when you have your separate space.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are important.
And also, just one more addition, maybe you didn't know how to make her feel the connection. Yeah. And that's what may make her like crave more and say, you're not giving me enough. And this may come from two reasons. One, you two have a different love language, and next time you're getting in a relationship, it's a simple test you can do online. It's called a 5 love language test. And because people have different ways of showing their love, therefore their connection. So have that in mind first, and then ask her, just straightforward, ask her, what would make you feel connected with someone? What makes you feel that a person is there for you? And she will tell you. And then if you do those things, or the ones that you resonate with, she will feel the connection. She will not try to get all your time, therefore all your energy, and make you feel drained.
Yeah, he's probably also doing the first one you said, which is the nice guy thing, which is I feel pressure, so I'm going to try to give her more of my time rather than giving her less time, but more quality time. So I really connect. So I'm going to connect less, but give you more time, which really sucks for a woman because now she just feels this constant, like he's not fully there.
Yeah.
It's like a woman would rather have you for an hour than all day, but fully connected for that hour, 100% with her. And that's what you got to control, buddy. Okay, anonymous. Eastern European men are raised by families too. I'm curious about how you answer this one. Are raised by families too. So how come the women do not emotionally develop their sons? What is the culture like for raising kids, guys versus girls?
Well, as you may very well know, in our culture, men should be the strong one, the leading one, the non-emotional one, and your mother or the mothers may want to raise real men. They don't know any better. It's not because they don't want their sons to be great, perfectly functional adults. Is that they want to make their sons be what they think it's what society wants them to be. But then again, there's no perfect parenting, and there's no perfect way of raising your children. There are also women that are mothers that are raising their daughters to be very masculine, very like pushing men away. And so we have both sides. I understand your pain in a sense. I've had talks with men from my country and from surrounding countries, and it's hard but not impossible to catch up with what was not offered in the first years of your childhood. And I'm sure if you're contacting one of the coaches, will be more than able to help you find a program that's suitable for your needs. And achieve what you feel is missing from your life.
Nice. We got another one from Anonymous. Probably a different Anonymous, but still Anonymous. Why are Western women not open emotionally? Why do they want to compete with their men? What could be their reasons? And I wouldn't say all Western. There's a large group, and I have my reasons for it. And so I was going to let you answer that question.
So what happened in the Western world is that, so there was feminism. Like in the very, very beginning, there was feminism, the very pure and first form of feminism, which had the aim to give women some rights, give them the ability to choose like a new political leader, or choose maybe work and be independent. So that was the healthy feminism, the real feminism. Now, these women took the values that were applied back then in a very long time ago in the 19th century, and kind of molded them into what they thought is right in the modern world. So they think that a woman should be emotionless, because if a man sees her emotions, will think she's weak and will judge her and will not appreciate her or like her, or whatever the reasons may be. There's a ton of reasons for that. Also, they may think that if they open emotionally, there'll be like a cascade of really intense emotions to deal with that they don't want to deal with. So they'll just use that as a cover, as most men do, just to protect themselves. And also they want to be. Another thing is that women nowadays are getting more masculine roles. They become managers, they become CEOs. So they don't know how to step back in their feminine from their job. They're like 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a day. So they are in the very masculine role, which implies less emotions, less connection. And then when they go to their partner, they simply don't know how to go back to being feminine. So they continue on with being super masculine and just living their lives as such. And not because they don't want, it's just that they don't know any better. And they are competing with their men, because there's this this conversation can be very, very long. So maybe I should stick to the first part of the answer.
We got a few more. We'll get them in. I think we can get them all in if we just conserve our time a little bit. Mm-hmm. Nimrod, another question: dating expectations and conventions, things you will rule a guy out on, or things that will sweep you off your feet.
Well, I hope this answer doesn't get you very frustrated, but the answer is super simple, and that's in his energy. Like, if I feel a man is indecisive, has a hidden contract, is I don't know, wavering around, just not being very solid, not having a strong container, then I'm not interested. I'm like,
every woman no, I'm not. Guy wavering around, he doesn't know what he wants. They hate it. They hate it.
Yeah. So what sweeps me off my feet is having a solid man, a really well-grounded man, a man with a big container, because I'm quite spreading around a lot, and just to be curious about me, feel the care in him, and this would be just a very few things that would make me sweep off my feet.
Okay, we got another question here. It's not really about Eastern European women though, so I'm going to read it and see if it fits here. Mm-hmm. I got the gist of it. I have this situation. I'm an Iraqi currently living in Baghdad. She is Iraqi American. She is feminine and funny. For example, when I offer my help, she refuses with thank you or just say no. But at the same time, she says she needs my help and refuses when I step in. I let her flow and just support her. If you have suggestions, guys, how to deal with this situation, it has a lot of different answers. So I'm a little reluctant to totally answer it because I have a lot of questions for him. I don't know if you want to give an answer because she's responding to how he's being in some way. I guarantee you there is something in his behavior that is off. So go for it.
That or, hi, Ahmed. First of all, salam alaikum. So what's another thing that may happen is she may need help on with specific things, and you're jumping in on what you think she needs. So what I would do is ask her, how can I be of any help? Like if you see her struggling with something, and then if she said yes, you ask her, okay, what can I help you with? How can I be here for you? How can I support you? And just be there for her in where she needs it. So that's the healthiest way to treat. And another thing is that what we tend to do in relationships and in our families is that we don't ask, do you need my help, or what do you need help with? We just jump in whenever we feel like, and we give help in the way we find fit for that person, but we don't ask specifics like, what do you need help with? How do you want to be helped? Do you need my help? Because in some situations she may not need your help, and you may have jumped in specifically in the situations where she was perfectly fine by by herself. But also it's very important what Brian said, make sure your energy is right.
Okay, this is a really good answer. I want to ask, I'm not going to answer this one from Jonathan. I want him to re-ask it. His question is, what is your cultural perception of Latino men? And Latino men, what does that mean? Does that mean men from Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, from South America? Does that mean men growing up in California, in East LA? So
Spain, Italy.
Yeah, Spain, Italy. Yeah, exactly. So give us a little, even Romanian men are Latin men. So give us a little bit more detail of what you're asking there, Jonathan. So we got another one here from Hassan. How do you say his name so beautifully?
What was that?
How did you say his name? Ahmed?
Ahmed.
Did I say it? Ahmed. Okay. So Ahmed, I have a situation regarding the third stage man. I have chance or choice leading a role in my college. Sometimes I think that I should leave it because of the fear of failure. I know I can do amazing things if I lose that fear. What's your advice? Well, that's easy. Do it. But yeah. You tell me, you dive in.
Be an action man. Take action. Be fearless. This is what we're talking about here for years and years. Just be fearless. Just start doing it.
If you don't learn to conquer that fear today, you're going to be an old man still running from fear. It's not that the fear goes away when you necessarily right away, but you just Miklos, do you want to say more?
I would just add that if you really want to take in the alpha role, understand that comes with some responsibilities and some tasks to deal and things to deal with. So if you really want to be an alpha man, be an alpha man, but deal with it. Don't just drop it halfway through it because it's too difficult. And if you don't want to be an alpha man, that's fine. It doesn't mean that you're less of a man. So be decisive in what you really are and how you really want to be, understand what it means, and take action in that regard.
Okay. Next question. Miklos. I hope I'm saying it right. What to do if the girl gets emotional? This is a great question because it happens all the time. What to do if the girl gets emotional, like her favorite singer died and she's very specific. I get the feeling this happened to you. Also, what's the difference between drama and emotion and an emotional storm? I'll let you take that one.
Well, this is a very funny question. I will start with the difference between drama and emotional storm. Drama is an exaggeration. So Miklos said that it actually happened. So drama is an exaggeration of the emotions, and you can generally feel when she's like kind of forcing the crying, kind of forcing, like overdoing the gestures, over saying some things. It's very easy. Like just take any episode of any soap opera, watch it for 5 minutes, you get a very detailed display of what drama is, and then have that as a comparison to your future situations where a woman gets emotional. And I wouldn't suggest you to tell her, hey, you're dramatic, but maybe ask her, is this really what you're feeling? Like, just don't accuse her, but try to see what's really going on. And if she's crying, most of the times what we need is a hug and a kiss. Like if she's crying, just be there for her, hug her, kiss her, and just ask her on top of that if you can be of any help for her situation as of then. That's the most you can do.
Really good. Thank you. We're going to start to move through these a little quicker. Let's see. Is there, and see if we can, because we got about 5 or 6 more, and we want to close it up. So let's see if we can answer these kind of really quickly to the best of your ability. What's the difference between younger and older Eastern European women?
Well, now younger and older are very relative concepts, but let's say that women that were, I would say that the difference in our societies is between people who lived in communism and people who were born and lived after communism. This is where our society kind of divides in the way they think and they react and they conduct their lives. So I would say that in our culture, people who are over 35, I would say, or 37, around that age, that lived in communism and or had a part of their childhood in communism, are much more traditional, much more scared, live more in fear. They need to be kind of worked on emotionally, and just it's a little bit more work, but then they're just great people. Once they open up harder, they're very suspicious. They're great people. Again, my family comes from that era, and they're amazing people. They are great, but it takes them some time to earn your trust, or to get your trust in you. So I would say that's the difference. And the younger people are just almost, especially if they're from like bigger cities, they're just like any other Western person. They're very vivid. They have patience and hobbies, and they're trying to expand more as personalities and explore more and have fun, live life to the fullest as much as they can.
Perfect. Okay, a couple more questions. We'll close it out here. Randall asks, not sure if this makes sense. I've noticed that Eastern European women I've dated go cold if I pull back a bit with the affection interest. So they go cold if he pulls back a bit, even a little bit. With Western girls, I noticed that they want to play with this kind of push-pull game, and the relationship can die if I don't pull back. This is contrary to European girls. Maybe it's just who I attract. So the Western girls like it, and he needs to do it, or he loses a Western girl. But with Eastern European girls, they disappear on him.
Well, depending on how you're pulling back from an Eastern European woman, she may feel that you're not committed, and I assume you're not from this region, so it would be like a long distance relationship. They may feel that you're playing with them. They may not understand what your real intention, and then out of self-protection, they will just pull back a little bit and get colder, just to protect themselves and their emotions and their well-being. But it's also in the way you are or not expressing exactly what you want, what you're expecting from it, what you're giving in the relationship. What's like, you're not very clear overall. That's why we get scared, and we don't like lack of clarity.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. Vigrant's asking me to Vigrant, I don't know if you say it, asking me to talk more about the container. I'd rather stick to questions for Anna Maria, and so we can finish out the day. We do have an ebook coming out soon that's going to have a breakdown of all the masters involved in the container being one of them. And let you know, there's also video on it specifically, I know, on the YouTube channel on the container. Jonathan, if you can find one of those videos, I would ask, or Mike, if one of you knows where it's at, just post it in the Facebook group so we can put it out there. And or ask me when I'm talking about specifically. And I know that data for another time, probably the Eastern European concept, or stick to Anna Maria. Actually, why don't you answer that question really quick? What's your opinion of a guy creating a container?
A guy creating a container?
Yeah, what's that like for you? What does that feel like? When
a guy can't create a container and hold it for us, it feels like he's not very solid, he's not very stable. We start to question, or our red flags go up, and we don't trust the guy because we don't feel we don't feel him. We don't get a real feeling of the guy. So there you go. We just run away from that. We don't like it. Now, there are some specific types of women that have their own issues. That may be attracted to that, but we're talking to a very well-functional adult. So a well-functioning woman will not like that. Whereas a woman, when a guy shows that he has a solid container, he can be there, very present, and kind of hold her with his container. To us, it's reassurance. It allows us to be safe, free, comfortable, at ease. So it's great to have a man that expands his container around us.
It's a man that's good with a container enjoys creating a safe space for the woman where he's managing the physical space. So he's aware of where they're sitting. He's aware of who's bumping into them. He's aware of the problems that could be coming up. He's aware of who's walking down the street in his peripheral. He's not obsessing over it. And he makes her feel safe in that, so she doesn't have to focus on that. And then what she does, if she loves being feminine and he's got a container, she doesn't have to do it for herself. She goes inside and starts to bring out and takes that energy that she'd use to manage her own container and starts to create a big feminine expression and fills that container, that space you created with it, so that you can enjoy her feminine. And it makes her feel safe. It makes her feel more like a girl, a woman, and alive. And then she attributes that all to you. So that's a short answer. Last question. It's more like a statement, but it's in response to the other guy's statement about Latin American men. This guy's thinking maybe it means Latin American men, not just Latinos. He's noticed since moving to Europe, he said we, I don't know whether we, but put he in there. He doesn't get treated that great. So do you find that to be true? Latin American men in Europe don't get treated well?
I don't know what to answer to that, because I mean, in what sense it's not all that great? What were your expectations and why do you think they're not met? And because we get disappointed or we feel that we are not treated as we expected to, because we build and set an expectations. So that makes us be very disappointed when they don't get met, and that happens very often. So, but I would say that all Latin people that come over are very well received. I've had people coming from Brazil here that were very well received with like very warm welcomings and treatments. We've had people from, I'm not sure about Mexico, but I know Brazil for sure, because I had two friends coming over, and everybody loved their company, and from Portugal as well, and from Cuba, I think. So
he's commenting specifically on Latin American men, not Brazilian, not Portuguese. He's thinking Latin American men don't get treated. Somebody from California or something like that. Goes over there.
Well, the only thing that we don't like, and we are not treating it well to our people, our citizens either, is if there is any sort of arrogance or sense of superiority. That's what we don't like. So if you have or whoever you're talking about has displayed that, yes, it's not well received. But it's not very specific. I don't know what were your expectations. I don't know what you were thinking you'll find here. So this is the best I can respond.
Yeah, we've had Latin American men in our programs, and I don't necessarily see a problem unless I see it as more as a personal problem with somebody's ability to date than it is a specific culture. As I've seen, you could be exotic in an Eastern European culture because you'll have the darker skin and accent if you're more sophisticated and dress well. But if you dress real crappy and you dress really bad, you don't own yourself well, it might be treated as less than and then projected onto you being Latin American, which isn't necessarily true. So, well, great question, great answers. I want to thank you for being here. I want to remind you to grab her ebook, which was in the comments section, and it's in there somewhere right now. It's just a little bit farther up, around 1219. You can also grab the ebook off the Facebook page. Put your questions for Anna Marie on the Facebook page if you've got any remaining questions or anything coming up. Her or Dave can be happily be in there answering questions for you. And I think that's about it. Is there anything else you want to say in parting?
No, just looking forward to your questions, your curiosities, and your feedback on the ebook and whatever things that may need to be discussed. I'm here for it.
Awesome.
And thank you all for being here. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to be here for you, to share with you my my knowledge, and to just witness your curiosity.
And it was a pleasure having you, Anna Maria. You know, I love this topic. I know it might bother some Western women, but I think we all have something we can learn from each other. And I think there's things that Western women can learn from Eastern European women and vice versa too. And that's why I really love Romanian women so much, in my opinion, because they're a great combination of the two. And I think that's awesome. So with that said, I want to thank everybody for being on the call. You guys are putting all these great comments in there. I love it. And we'll see you on the next call. The next call's tomorrow, or is the next day? I don't have it in front of me.
Let's
see here. I'm gonna look
tomorrow.
What's the topic?
This will be part 2 that you've been doing every Thursday.
Oh, tomorrow's Thursday. Boy, I lost track of time with this quarantine. I don't know what day is what anymore. The days go so fast. Okay, guys, with that said, we'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking more about, for that guy's question I didn't answer, get that on there tomorrow, because that'll fit more tomorrow's topic. And tomorrow's topic will be continuing with the discussion of turning fear into courage. And it's kind of like almost a releasing extension and creating more power. That's a generic title for really just getting more and more confident. And that's what the topic is about each week. And within the society, with women, with everything, you know, within the culture that's going on with COVID, just building that courage up. So hopefully we see you tomorrow. I'm sure it'll be an amazing call. They've all been great. And again, have a beautiful day, everybody. Take care. And remember, only the confident really live. Take care.